We welcome you to the Estadio Olimpico Universitario in Mexico City and the quarterfinals of Scotiabank Concacaf Champions League. Quite the mountain to climb, perhaps at 7,400 feet rather. Pumas can in fact do it. The lights are on in Mexico City. Pumas taking on New England Revolution. So glad you're with us. Mike Watts on hand for the call. It is a very temperate day. It is a far cry from the extreme temperatures and weather felt in New England when these teams met in the first leg. Take a look at the upper right-hand corner of the bracket. 3-0 in the opening leg to New England. Pumas are behind the 8 ball after dominating their second leg against Saprissa in the round of 16. New England earned passage by way of walkover. Winner of this one will get either Cruz Azul or Montreal, a game that is concluding as we speak. Let's take a look back at the first leg. About 30 degrees, significant stiff winds at Gillette Stadium outside of Boston, Massachusetts in the United States Northeast. New England and Pumas meeting for the second time in their history, and New England wasted no time. Sebastian Lletget in the 19th minute. Carlos Heel puts together 2 assists, but truth of the matter, he figured into all 3 New England goals. The celebration was on in snowy New England, 1-0 at halftime. Pumas would look for that critical away goal, and it would never come. Skip ahead to the 72nd minute. It feels like a replay. Most every goal that Adam Buxa scores, that delicate run through the back line, the stick-to-itiveness after the effort from Talavera to come off his line. 2-0 New England. And then in stoppage time, this may well be the nail in Puma's coffin when it's all said and done. Buxa by Talavera, 3-0 New England over Pumas. And with that, we welcome you into the stadium in Mexico City, a stadium with immense history and a Pumas side convinced that they can in fact move on. 3-0 would get them to penalties. You concede a goal, you're going to need 5. It's somewhat similar to the experience New York City FC had yesterday going away to Guatemala that New England now faces tonight. You've got a group with immense confidence, a significant home field advantage, and that man, Bruce Arena, will try and help, as he so often has, lead Major League Soccer to places they have never been before. They've never won the Champions League crown, and against Pumas tonight, they could take a massive step in the right direction. Pumas at this stage, 4 winless in the Mexican League, 1 win in their last 7, but it was that crucial win against Saprissa that moved them on to the quarterfinal in the first place. For New England, it's been a rocky start in theory to the MLS season, but it hasn't exactly been a very clear indication of how they've played. They've largely done pretty well. Their most recent defeat in the hands of Real Salt Lake is the kind that could take some wind out of your sails. A 2-goal lead dissipated. And now New England, who've been to the playoffs in Major League Soccer 3 years running, but finally get back on an international stage, will see as grand a stage as CONCACAF can provide. Pumas Unam of Mexico, New England Revolution of the United States. Lineups and kickoff to come as the CONCACAF Champions League anthem rains down at the Estadio Olimpico Universitario. All right, let's get after it tonight in Mexico City. The lights are on. Champions League action is just moments away. New England taking on Pumas. Andres Lilini will not be featuring as the manager in the next two matches for Pumas in the League MX, but that does not affect him in Champions League. He oversees a lineup that makes 3 changes. Fabio Alvarez is out altogether. Rodriguez and Galindo move to the bench. In comes Velarde, Islas, and Sebastian Saucedo, the U.S. and Mexican youth international who did spend time at Real Salt Lake as a homegrown player. Players from both teams coming together. Puma's schedule was altered due to the horrific events that occurred at Querétaro a couple of weeks ago. And a reminder to fans, both in the venue and beyond, that wrong is in fact wrong. Carlos Gil likely feels pretty confident he could sneak one by that man. Alfredo Talavera, the captain's there. 4 finals in Ivan Barton's history as a referee. The native of El Salvador will oversee his 5th, make that his 8th Champions League match all time after overseeing the CONCACAF League final in 2020 between Alajuelense and Saprissa. There is the VAR room at the stadium. Drew Fisher of Canada, assisted by Ismael Cornejo. For Bruce Arena and the New England Revolution. New logo, same style as a year ago. Earl Edwards remains in for the injured Matt Turner, who's perhaps thrust himself into position to be the American #1 goalkeeper. Andrew Farrell with soreness was left back in Boston, and they're without Kessler as well. So the 2 primary center backs for Bruce Arena are unavailable, and they've got a young man in John Bell, who is the first player from New England Revolution 2, their 3rd division club in the United States, the reserve team, to feature an international club competition. He'll be joined by the most experienced player in Champions League for New England, Omar Gonzalez. Talavera making his way back to goal. It is 3-0 to New England on aggregate. 1 road goal makes this a seemingly impossible fight for Pumas. But clear eyes from Andres Lilini. Can they somehow turn this around? The talent certainly there for Pumas to spring what coming in may not have seemed like all that much an upset. But the scoreline after 1 leg leaves a lot of digging out to do. Carlos Gil, the reigning Major League Soccer most valuable player. Juan Ignacio Dinenno and this Pumas side have plenty of firepower themselves. Ivan Barton will do the honors of beginning the match here tonight. Mexican clubs historically have dominated on home soil in Champions League. They'll need that and just a little bit more tonight to have any chance whatsoever. They've got the ruckus support of their home fans behind them. The 90th meeting between American and Mexican clubs in Champions League comes in Mexico City tonight. Ivan Barton blows the whistle. We are underway. Pumas in white. It is blue kits for New England. And this quarterfinal 2nd leg begins. New England leading 3-0 on aggregate. Comes over to Islas, one of the changes for Pumas from their most recent Champions League fixture. For New England, they made 7 changes from last week's Champions League game to their weekend game against RSL, and they made 7 more in the lead up to tonight from what they did on the weekend. Needless to say, they are putting proper respect toward Pumas regardless of the score. In the early stages of the MLS season, rotating in favor of Champions League. There's Buxa, who's likely haunted a few nightmares for his late scoring exploits in the opening leg at Gillette Stadium. Throw coming for DeJuan Jones. Called into the U.S. national team back in January. Good work from Traustason. And elevated arm. Traustason gets the wrong end of this, and New England get a decent opportunity to start. High extended hand by the neck from Alan Mosel, player who knows his way around yellows and reds. Not enough in that for Drew Fisher to ask the referee to take another look. Carlos Heel put this in play for New England. The whistle blows, it's going the other way. It is with Pumas. Who haven't necessarily had a problem scoring goals, it's been conceding them. They've given up 8 now in the last 3 games. Toro Ortiz. Take a look here. Buxa perhaps a bit overzealous there, and then Traustason trying to get a touch to that. Back from Maritao. Talavera, 39 years old. Still the first choice for Pumas. Ball drops in and finds Earl Edwards Jr. Edwards' 5th consecutive start in place of the injured Matt Turner. Appears ready to take his turn in the Premier League with Arsenal. This upcoming summer transfer window. Dinenno. Found Mosel. Mosel tees this up. Bouncing all the way through from Lopez. Edwards collects. Earl Edwards was once upon a time a U.S. Youth International with great expectation. 29 years old now. Career that's seen him go through the 1st division for the most part. Stops in the 3rd and 2nd as well. From a very tight angle, rolls through along the top of the 6. Gustavo Bo was in Major League Soccer's best 11 last year for a team that set the league record for points. And turned back to New England. Away from Bo. Set piece for New England. Quick restart, Bo, now Heel. Nodded backward, comes to Jones. Brandon by. Didn't catch Bo. Dinenno trying to get there. Thrust back forward. Bo. Bo's got space. Bo unleashes. New England felt the longer this hung at 0-0, the more pressure the Pumas would exert, seeking that first of what needs to be a minimum of 3 goals to reach the Champions League semifinal. A 3-0 result would get Pumas to penalties. 4-0 would allow them to advance, but 4-1 would see New England through on the away goal. Maybe some more opportunities would come for the Revs. Bo gets the return. This is pretty from New England. Buxa. Bo. Flag is down for now. Good step by Pumas. New England foul. The extended Brandon by. Mozo. Maritao. Ahead from Velarde. Bouncing atop the 18. And ripped at Edwards. Collapses over the ball. First decent look for Pumas comes in the first 10 minutes. Juan Ignacio Dinenno. He's their danger man. Mozo. Well touched away by Omar Gonzalez. Today his 30th Champions League appearance. He won Champions League with Pachuca in 2017. He's one of Bruce Arena's prized pupils in Los Angeles, and at this stage in the 33-year-old's career, after time at Toronto, chance to play in New England. Due to injuries, a chance to play a maybe more significant role than initially anticipated. This is up to Maritao. Mozo has been quite busy down this right side. Mozo. Ball leaned away from Dinenno. Maritao stepped in front of Leggett. Racing forward, Lopez. Got over Dinenno, pops in the air off of Rogerio. Rogerio says he won a corner, he did. John Bell in the thick of it for New England. Lano Lopez, Champions League for Leon and Toluca, now for Pumas. First ball's away from Bell. Lopez, poor. Mozo came off of Gonzalez. New England leads 3-0 on penalties, rather after one leg. 3-0 the other way could lead us to penalties. An away goal for New England, Pumas would need 5. This first goal, critical. Saucedo. Edwards reaches over the top. Lopez taps aside. Spun out wide. They're seeking Islas and back into the Pumas half. Velarde. All over Edwards. Perhaps they're trying to catch him out. Hand up from Saucedo, he knows. Well, for Lillini, a bit frustrated in his Champions League press conference that the nature of his two-match touchline ban from Ligue MX became as public as it did. Language used towards a referee, meaning that he'll miss the next two matches in the league. But in Champions League, still able to continue. Lofted ahead for Rogerio. Collected, sent back by Traustason. Header snap back by Frede. On to Islas. Diving header away from Bai. Here's a Bai, a Bo, a Buxa, and a Bell all playing for New England on this evening. Mozo put a little too much on that, but he's bailed out. Rolled ahead by Maratao. Pumas enter into the attacking half. Mozo has moved side to side, and he's racing wide. Chance to whip this across. He's seeking Dinenno, who's streaking back to the ball. It's put out by Matt Polster. Pumas have looked the better side in these first 15 minutes. Now can the Revs defend this set piece? Try and take some measure of control. Taken short. The return out from Ortiz. Ball caromed off Saucedo. Recovery by Brandon Bai, who's already getting credit from Bruce Arena. One of the better right backs in MLS. They came through Western Michigan, not a large collegiate program in the United States. In the top division, perhaps not in the best conference within that division. Nonetheless, first round pick 5 years ago, featuring in Mexico City, earning so much praise. Throw for Pumas. That's a rugged challenge into Islas, and the yellow cards come out. Traustason goes into the book in the 16th minute of play. Does in fact step down on that right foot. So Traustason will need to be a bit of a high wire act from here. There's been talk over the years about about the depth necessary to win Champions League for an MLS team. Maybe your 5 best players can compete with League MX, but maybe it's the bottom 5 in your starting 11 or in your 18 that can't quite keep up. New England is testing that theory here tonight due to all the depth they've needed to test at center back. Good ball laid forward. Buxa making the center run. Buxa wide. The pursuit of the away goal continues for New England. Juan Jones stepped in, won it admirably. That quick release forward, allowing Bo and Buxa to combine after heel and help spring the attack forward. And Pumas, for the time being, spared their blushes. Mozo. Ball's headed back and taken in by Sebastian Lletget. Lletget appealing for a free kick that's not coming. Swung forward by Lopez. Pumas into the final third. This ripped, cleared. Lopez rolls wide of Saucedo. Lopez. There's room for Mozo. Steps through, threads the cross. Comes through the backside, reloading again, Pumas. Floated toward Dinenno, cleared by Gonzalez. Still for Pumas. Lopez. They shift side to side. Mozo crossing. Header from Bai goes out for a corner. Corner, Pumas. They saw Dinenno again. Header snap back down and toward Edwards. Buxa, now Bo chasing. It was after Velarde who got it away under duress, but New England claims in the attacking half, and you can tell Carlos Gil would have much rather had advantage. Well, here's what Buxa was yelling at Ivan Barton about. That ultimately led to this. Ball catching Omar Gonzalez, and did that catch an outstretched arm? VAR always watching, apparently not clear and obvious. Set piece, New England, caught by Talavera. And they catch New England out a little bit. New England leads 3-0 on aggregate. Bruce Arena asked by the pool reporter in advance of tonight's game in the tunnels upon arrival the message he had for his players to avoid overconfidence. He answered very simply, they're not overconfident. They saw a challenging game in the first leg. They expected that same kind of challenge here tonight. And large in part, that's exactly what they've gotten. New England's created a couple of chances, but Pumas were always going to come out the aggressive side, and they have. Ball chipped down, Islas. It's all been flank play thus far for Pumas. Can they finally get it over the line? Saucedo wins a corner. One he'll almost assuredly take. Brandon Bai put under pressure once more. This is not the most vertically inclined squad in Mexico. Maritao and Dinenno about 6'1". The corner. It's Bai again. Two hands up from Mozo. He wants it played to him, and that's exactly what happens. Mozo delivers. Tried to thread a rocket through all that traffic. You could see his hands up. He was begging for the opportunity to take that out of the air. He did put a charge into it, didn't he? Mozo. Early ball, seeking the backside. Clean challenge by New England. Ahead for Buxa. And the Polish striker can run, but he can't get by. Mozo. Cross field from Ortiz. Nicolas Freire, who dealt with a left hamstring injury in the second leg of the round of 16. The thorough thwacking of Saprissa after a 2-2 draw in the opening leg. Good slide in, allows Islas onto the ball. The return, Mozo breaking through. Mozo to the backside, Edwards steers it back. Alan Mozo has touched most every blade of grass in the attacking half. Saucedo trying to step in, taken on by Traustason. Laid out for Buxa, slide in by Freire. How brilliant is that run, tucking inside Jones. Maybe there's an option to go to Ruggiero on the backside. But likely he took the best opportunity he could, went for goal, came up short. Really decent start by Pumas. No doubt they were going to give New England a few chances. Nothing worth having comes easy. They've created more than they've conceded. This is going to fall delicately. Maritao rings that off of Polster. Rolled back wide. Saucedo dances in. Ortiz, right through the middle, Lopez chips it wide. Kept by Saucedo, floated, header, saved. Rosario did get a solid nod on toward goal, and Edwards, right place, right time. The steady Bruce Arena looks on. Behind Polster, and that sudden jolt of energy, you could feel it, you could see it ringing through Lillini, the manager. And for a Pumas side that tonight needs to walk before it can jog, before it can run, still looking for that first goal of the 3 that they'll need at minimum. Sprung wide, ball for Buxa. It's away, clever little ball back from John Dowell. Bell's second-round pick in San Jose out of the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, UMBC. One thing you can say about Bruce Arena, he certainly has no bias against the collegiate draft. He's been about as good as any coach in MLS history in developing players through that system. But what he's done recently, with the help of longtime assistant Kurt Analfo, has been equally enthralling in the academy, along with the Revs legend Shalry Joseph. By being pushed back, Saucedo. Heavy touch, lets down Islas. Traustason for Heel. Heel, he lost it under so much pressure. But for New England, you do get the feeling that their ability to find diamonds in the rough, even when Jay Heaps was the coach. Islas, caught by Edwards. But continuing in the Bruce Arena era. Good slide in by Lopez. Combined with this renewed ambition on the academy side, could mean that this run of New England's success domestically very well could carry for a long time. And they're doing it now under the winningest manager in Major League Soccer history. Oh, brilliant. Jones knocked it off of Islas. How good was that from New England? Pumas players being assured the referee is keeping time. Heel. Not over Buxa. Another look at that push away from the play. Mark Gonzalez streaking through. And a restart for Pumas. Bell handled that nicely. And Polster was overtaken. But a free kick to New England. Edwards will come forward. The referee again explains the nature of time wasting. And Edwards puts that out of the opposite end line. You know, for New England, this was a club that felt somewhat moribund for a while, didn't it? Times lacked the star power. All the success they had in the mid to late 2000s started to dissipate. Not a regular championship contender, certainly not getting into Champions League nearly enough. It won the Open Cup in '07, but it was in 2021 that they finally grabbed a league trophy, the Supporters Shield. It's a group that hasn't actually played in Champions League as an organization since 2008. They were knocked out in the preliminary round, and not in a very kind way either, by the side from Trinidad and Tobago, Joe Public. There's no question they've arrived now with a bevy of high-priced stars. Ping to the opposite end, ushered out by Bai. As history will tell you in this competition, the fact that we're 32.5 minutes in shouldn't give you any false sense of security that New England is bleeding the clock out effectively enough. Ball whipped back across, there's the opener. Dinenno pushes it home. Pumas has the first of the three they need. Dinenno's fourth goal in this Champions League campaign. Rosario sends it back across. It's the deflection off the thigh of Dinenno that gets it by Edwards. And there are people who have seen this competition long enough who are enduring flashbacks of years past. This Pumas side with so much history has a long way to go, but they've got there first. Came to Dinenno, he gets knocked down. 3 goals in the two-legged tie against Saprissa. Pumas wins 3-0. This would go to penalties. Bobbled, but Talavera's there. If New England scores, they have the lone road goal of the tie. It would mean Pumas would need to win 5-1 on the night to advance. So make no mistake, New England is still entirely on the front foot. But a second goal here for Pumas would change that dynamic greatly approaching halftime. Bruce Arena said there would be no issue of overconfidence. Traustason lofts this back, and Ortiz circles ball at feet. He was also quick to point out, if we defend, we go through. Mozo. Whoa. Yvonne Barton speaking frankly with Earl Edwards. Andres Lillini, manager for Pumas, made it clear their faith was intact, and he said for the fans that had kept their faith historically, been rewarded by the club. What a rich reward it could be tonight. Quick restart, too quick. We can, in fact, confirm that there will be a Mexican club in the semifinals. It was somewhat, perhaps, in doubt. Cruz Azul has knocked off Montreal. Ball driven forward and away. The winner of this tie will face Cruz Azul in the semifinal, which begins between April 5th and 7th. Pumas on the run. Dinenno rolls ahead. Islas, early ball, backside. Saucedo is creeping into the picture. Bai knotted it out. Lopez. Seattle is playing León tomorrow. León in a similar 3-0 hole the Pumas faced at the beginning of this night. Perhaps Pumas still has something up their sleeve here. Maybe they can show the light to León as well. Come up short of Moso. Winner of that Seattle-León tie face NYCFC, who played the 5-5 thriller of a lifetime against Comunicaciones of Guatemala. Guatemalans won 4-2 in the second leg, but NYCFC advanced on away goals. Thrilling stuff. Heel is brought down by Saucedo. Another look at Rogerio bringing that down so epically, and Dinenno, who has made a lot of money by being in the right place at the right time, does it again. Bangs it past Earl Edwards. And Puma's life in the 33rd minute. 2 goals back from sending it to penalties. This is going to have to be played by Bell, and so it is. Well worked out of pressure, but lost to touch. Throw Pumas with over 5 minutes. Could be a decent amount of stoppage time in this first half. The referee has gestured to his watch at least a trio of times. Appeal there for a foul. Bell, in fact, did it cleanly. Moso, and now Frede. New England still leads 3-1 on aggregate. 3 goals garnered in the snowy Northeast. There was actually some hail that came down before this game. That ball, another couple hundred feet seemingly in the air, finds Saucedo on the backside. Saucedo got cleaned out. Free kick, Pumas. A firm talking to Brandon Bai. What can Pumas create off this set piece? They've had good variety to this point, but make no mistake, number 9's their target. There's the ball across, bouncing down atop the 6. Ruggiero puts it wide. Saucedo, Ruggiero curling to the backside. Got by Maritao. That's clever from Ortiz, shielding the opportunity for Saucedo to keep the play moving. And New England down their 2 first-choice center backs from a year ago, down their goalkeeper, who to great international acclaim burst into the spotlight last year. Trying to maintain an advantage here. Buxa, foul. Frede, who was on the wrong end of an own goal. And the Saprissa tie. Guilty party here. Service toward Buxa. Well, he had a clean look at it, just couldn't make contact. Bo is chasing from side to side. Pumas have broken into the attacking half. Lopez. Goodness, a second goal by halftime for Pumas. There'd be a lot of wind in their sails. Ball knotted wide. Saucedo, service, header, Ruggiero turning back, Maritao. Maritao to the end line, hit the post, and lifted away. The whistle blew nonetheless, the flag is up. But if you're New England, you better find another gear, because this one isn't getting it done. Bai took this all the way to the end. Did that fully cross the line? Really tough to tell. But that's the call, at least. Dinenno will chase back. This was a supremely wounded Pumas side when this tie began. Injuries galore. As they get back to their home field and closer to full health. They've watched New England get bit by the injury bug. And with it, perhaps some fortunes have changed. First half stoppage time approaches. Flicked back. Bai returns. Bai. Bo. For Buxa. Over his head. And Buxa commits the foul. And that is a heavy load. Molzo immediately puts it back in play. Islas hadn't even gotten up yet. 2 added minutes in this first half. New England has had a couple good chances. And make no mistake, Pumas are still very much in this quarterfinal. That's a good statement to make with 45 minutes to go. Ortiz. Maratao. Islas. Early ball bouncing all the way through, caught by Edwards. Ruggiero tried to knock that across again for Dinenno. And for New England, so very close to what could have been an epic touch from Ruggiero to put that on target. And a good defensive effort on the backside from Omar Gonzalez to hold that up as halftime approaches. That road goal is worth chasing. Buxa. That clearance left a lot to be desired. Referee looks at his watch. He's going to let this play out. Crossfield from Moso. Bai heads it away. Saucedo won't be able to throw it back in. 1-0 at halftime. Pumas are still alive, and they were the better side in that first half. For all the damage New England did on their home field, this is the same scoreline that New England held at halftime of the first leg. Pumas need 2 goals to send this to penalties. New England needs just 1 to cause Pumas to look up at a 4-goal margin. Halftime at the Estadio Olimpico Universitario in Mexico City. On aggregate, New England 3, Pumas 1, and on the night in the second leg of the CONCACAF Champions League quarterfinals, Pumas 1, New England 0.
Scotiabank 2022, porque el fútbol inspira a niños y transforma futuros. Sigue Scotiabank Fútbol Club en Facebook para conocer más de nuestras iniciativas en torno al fútbol. Qatar Airways, la aerolínea oficial de la Liga de Campeones Concacaf Scotiabank, garantiza tu puesto para la Copa Mundial en Qatar con nuestros increíbles paquetes de viajes. Cómpralos ahora en qatarairways.com/FIFA 2022. Para las últimas noticias, estadísticas y lo más destacado del partido, visita la página oficial concacafchampionsleague.com. Sigue toda la acción del torneo en las redes sociales oficiales de CONCACAF, en Twitter, @TheChampions, en Facebook, @CONCACAFChampions. Scotiabank es orgulloso patrocinador de la Liga de Campeones CONCACAF Scotiabank 2022, porque el fútbol inspira a niños y transforma futuros. Sigue Scotiabank Fútbol Club en Facebook para conocer más de nuestras iniciativas en torno al fútbol.
Pumas and New England meeting at the Olympic Stadium in Mexico City. A show of solidarity pregame was quickly followed by a physical first half between these two teams. It was 3-0 on aggregate entering the second leg after a very snowy day in New England. Earl Edwards was the goalkeeper put under the most pressure in this opening half. Juan Ignacio Dinenno turning from 20 yards. Edwards, eyes big like dinner plates, able to pull that in. Islas brought down there. And the attack in this first half from Pumas wasn't exactly suffocating, but it did come in waves. Ball whipped ahead from Molsol. He wound this across and punched away by Edwards, aggressive off his line. Snap header taken in by Edwards. Handful of decent set pieces in that first half from Pumas. Here's the breakthrough. Dinenno from Rosario. That initial ball in from Omar Islas. And Pumas in the 33rd minute pull one back. They need two more and a clean sheet to get this to penalties. They've played this entire match on the high wire act of knowing that a New England goal would give the Revs a very significant away goal. It would mean Pumas would need to win 5-1 to advance. Pumas continued to seek their second goal before halftime. Maratau ultimately banging this off the outside of the post. Edwards had it covered. And Pumas going right into the tail end of the half without their tails between their legs, creating chance after chance. Edwards there in front of Dinenno. Halftime, Pumas 1, New England 0. Underneath the floodlights in Mexico City, this stadium that doesn't have all the frills perhaps, but is such a magnificent venue for this game. Pumas 1, New England 0. Shots and possession heavily in favor of Pumas, and if you're New England, a side that's played a fair number of matches recently and rotated over the weekend, that's well enough alone. Halftime here, it is 1-0 Pumas on the night, 3-1 New England on aggregate in the third of 4 games in Champions League quarterfinals second leg being played this week.
Protección Civil UNAM informa. El personal de Protección Civil está debidamente identificado. Viste el chaleco color naranja. En caso de emergencia, permanece en tu lugar. Mantén despejados túneles, pasillos y salidas. Las rampas de emergencia se utilizarán únicamente cuando personal de Protección Civil dé la indicación. En caso de activarse la alerta sísmica, conserva la calma, permanece en tu lugar y espera las indicaciones del personal de Protección Civil. Recuerda que el Estadio Olímpico es un recinto seguro. Por tu seguridad, no está permitido permanecer sobre el pretil. Si te acompañan menores de edad, no los pierdas de vista. En caso de evacuación, mantén la calma y recuerda Recuerda el principio, no corro, no grito y no empujo. Sigamos disfrutando del partido con seguridad.
We welcome you back to Mexico City. There is, well, one of Major League Soccer's longest-serving goal-scoring threats. Tommy McNamara is set to come on for New England at halftime. They're going to look for any kind jolt of energy. This first half for New England left something to be desired. They did create a couple chances on the counter, but not nearly enough to really make Alfredo Talavera feel uncomfortable. It's Traustason who comes out. He was on a yellow card. McNamara will come in, and New England will try and usher this over the finish line. They lead 3-1 on aggregate, but Pumas have the lone goal tonight. And for New England, they led just 1-0 at halftime in the first leg. If this match were to take an almost identical road to 3-0 in favor of Pumas, come with 2 late goals and end in penalties for Andres Lillini's side. That's all they could have asked for coming into the night. Ivan Barton sends us into the second half under the floodlights in Mexico City. Estadio Olimpico Universitario playing host to Pumas and New England. McNamara for Traustason, the halftime change. Cruz Azul got by Montreal 2-1 on aggregate earlier tonight. Ball ahead. Maybe it was there for Bo. Rolls all the way out. New England could have taken all the air out of this venue with 1 quick minute of play in this second half. And alas, it goes narrowly wide. So as it stands now, New England would go on to face Cruz Azul. The first leg would be the first midweek of April, the 5th through the 7th. The first leg match window in Champions League for the semifinal. New England had never gotten past the old preliminary round, which was way back in 2008. 3 Champions Cup victories for Pumas in their history. They have not won it in the modern era. Ball whipped across dangerously enough. Lifted again. Finds the backside. Saucedo sent that scintillating service. Now Buxa. Frede is there. You can already tell this second half is not for the faint of heart. The turn. Rogerio. Overlap arrives. Ball floated. Falls. Saucedo too heavy a touch. Well, let's take a look. Is Bo onside? It's very tight. From that angle, Frede was going stride for stride, likely kept him on. And then Saucedo, as this just inches over Brandon By, unable to corral it. Head from Heel, back from Buxa. Heel unable to take over. Maratau kept it long enough. Saucedo. This was a New England team that had the best goals against average in their history. Which dates back to the beginning of MLS. Rogerio. Sinking Dinenno! Pumas only need 1 more! New England were the standard bearer last year. They were anticipated to be one of the favorites in this tournament. And Pumas putting them to the sword in this second leg. Rogerio and Dinenno have been brilliant. Nutmegging the defender, Dinenno able to get a foot out in front of Omar Gonzalez. And the heart palpitations in New England are very real. A wonderful service. Dinenno's got his 5th of the tournament. And Andres Lellini, who begged the fans to believe, has watched his team instill that belief in the tens of thousands in this historic venue. 2-0 on the night, 3-2 on aggregate. Dinenno, the 49th minute and the 33rd, have both goals for Pumas. And there are likely folks in the United States right now who are thinking this cannot be happening. Dinenno just became the leading goal scorer in the tournament to this point. He passes Tati Castellanos of New York City. Buxa. That's with New England. Thrown in by Saucedo, poor clearance. Heel, lifting, settled, and away. McNamara was trying to feed it back for Sebastian Lletget, who's broken enough Mexican hearts this year. Over the past 12 months, he's won the Nations League and the Gold Cup. Dinenno 2 times, 5 goals in the tournament. And Pumas need 1 more to potentially take this to penalties. 1 goal for New England, and Pumas would need to score 3 more. The stakes couldn't be higher. Saucedo lifting straight into the air. Rogerio trying to get under it. Gonzalez got it away. Islas puts it up. Mosso. Maratao. Maratao's effort didn't push Earl Edwards to any limit. Can that man, Adam Buxa, who had 2 goals in the first leg, be the man to break through for New England? What an odd start to the year it's been for the Revs. The way they fell out of the playoffs last year left a bitter taste in everybody's mouth. You could say the same for Pumas, to be fair. But Pumas get by Saprissa, rematch of the 2005 CONCACAF Champions Cup final. They're sitting just below the middle of the table in Liga MX at this stage in the Clausura. The wheels aren't off, but it hasn't been the best. For New England, however, they thought they'd open up with a couple games against the Haitian team, the lone Haitian representative, Cavalli, who dealt with visa issues. First, they're supposed to play 2 games at Gillette Stadium. Then it was a walkover. They had to play an additional preseason friendly to stay fit. They start the MLS season. They ultimately get a 2-2 result at Portland. Beat Dallas, and then against Real Salt Lake over the weekend after thumping Pumas. We're up 2-0. Saw VAR play a role in their meltdown that resulted in a 3-2 New England defeat. Dinenno, the flag is down for now. Dinenno rolling, cleared, setting up a blast off target. And all Bruce Arena can do is shake his head. We'll keep an eye on Dinenno. Did he break past Gonzalez too early? Appeared he very well might have. In goes Mosso, Leggett, Bo. Back to Maritao, picked up and sent outside, Heel. Carlos Heel! Good stop, Talavera. Curling toward the back post. Maybe caught between two minds of scoring that road goal himself. Perhaps it would have swung in. Or providing the service to Buxa, who was a couple steps behind. Talavera makes sure that neither could be an outcome. And Carlos Heel goes to work. Heel, Gonzalez, bounces around, McNamara went up for it acrobatically. And out to Lopez. New England's lead, once 3-0 entering the night, has dwindled to 3-2. But the value of a road goal, not insurmountable, but extraordinary. Crossfield ball sends Dinenno chasing. Jones pursues. Off of Jones, corner Pumas. Sebastian Leggett called this a mental exercise. Come out and play like it's 0-0. The Pumas have come out with desperation. There's an appeal that Jones is too close. Ball whipped across, Dinenno! Wide. An open header for Juan Ignacio Dinenno. As glorious a chance as he's had all night, and it's the one he's unable to steer on target. From the penalty spot, and if there's such a thing as having too much time. See how swiftly the approach changes from the manager. Frustration, the disappointment, quickly back on the horse. So Puma's side that delights in all the young players that have formed under Lillini's leadership and found their way into the first team. This is not a group of high-priced superstars stacked together in pursuit of international glory. No, this is Pumas as they ever were. They're trying to take down the most dominant side, arguably in MLS history. An argument you could make purely from a statistical points perspective. Club in the Boston area, owned by one of the most powerful sporting families in the United States, the Kraft family. Ball driven high and collected by Edwards. Overtaken effectively enough by Arturo Ortiz. And here comes another wave of Pumas pressure. It's Saucedo. Saucedo rolling. Oh, New England is completely losing its grip on this tie. Another look a moment ago. The opportunity to clear initially. Ruggiero gets it between the legs of Bell. His first Champions League appearance, and the most experienced player in CONCACAF Champions League, Omar Gonzalez, beaten as well. Lifted up by, falls to Saucedo. Saucedo! It's another error by New England. It's just not convincing enough from Brandon Bai. And Saucedo roofs it over the reserve netminder. And Saucedo, who came through the American system, has broken American hearts. A banger of a finish to bring us level on the aggregate, 3 goals apiece. And with 30 minutes to go, the next goal will carry immeasurable weight. For New England, it would mean Pumas need 2. For Pumas, if they get it to 4-0, they would advance on that scoreline. Right now, 3 home goals apiece. It would go to penalties, no extra time. And this venue is bouncing. Ball driven by Saucedo arrives, corner New England. It's not over yet, these quarterfinals. You could argue in all the years of Champions League in CONCACAF, this has been the best quarterfinal round we've ever had. Comunicaciones taking NYCFC to the brink. Montreal and Cruz Azul just 1 goal separated. Now Pumas from 3 goals down. In comes Diogo, the 25-year-old Brazilian. Islas did the job. He was involved in that first goal for Pumas, feeding Rogerio, who found Dinenno. And the 6'4" Diogo comes directly in on this set piece. Whisked away by Pumas. Bypassing Lopez. Belongs to Pumas Unam. A 7-time Mexican champion, most recently in 2011. Founded in 1954. Run by the public university in Mexico City. One of the most active academies in Mexico and ever competitive. That's Dinenno being crashed into by Gonzalez. Diogo, that's his first touch of the ball. This is second. Sent toward Rogerio. And if you're New England, the confluence of events here, what do you do now? Bruce Arena arrived. He told the reporter in the tunnel, if we defend, we're going through. Well, you haven't defended. As it stands now, you'd be going to penalties. Is there such a thing as flipping a switch in the 64th minute of a Champions League quarterfinal? We might find out. Floated ball, Dinenno got his head to it, steered it off target. Pumas are flying. And this collection of talent for New England in the attacking half has been unconscionably quiet. Ball rolled over, Moso under pressure, turned over, lifted away by Buxa. Buxa and McNamara combined to take the ball away, and Buxa unable to do anything more with it. Ball caroms off of heel. Dinenno twice, Saucedo most recently just before the hour mark. Room for Moso to run into. Ripped from distance, handled by Edwards. Beg your pardon, it was Ruggiero who let fly. That back four dropping in unison. The MLS Cup winner taken to the brink last night. Now the Supporters Shield winner as well. Heel. Header away. Before Bai gets a touch, taken on by Leggett. He was counted on with both the young players that featured in Nations League, the more experienced and oftentimes domestic-based players that featured in the Gold Cup under Greg Berhalter for the U.S. national team last summer. Took home 2 winners' medals for his efforts. As the international break closes in, Leggett and the Revs. Here's Buxa. Buxa dribbling. Talaveda's there. And we're just trying to get this back on their terms to some extent. Talaveda getting there in the nick of time. Good from Nicolas Frede. Holding Buxa off. Saucedo picked up a knock. Most recent goal scorer in the 59th minute. Clearly hobbled. Change waiting to come for Pumas. Question is it for Saucedo? It is. What a goal he scored in the 59th minute. Ruvalcaba comes in. That's away from Ruggiero. Ruvalcaba is not featured yet in Champions League this year. Buxa giving chase. From California in the U.S., played briefly in 2020. Cal State, San Bernardino, the Coyotes. Comes into Pumas, has played more with their second team, Pumas Tabasco, than anything. Here he is now. Ruvalcaba drops this back. Floated over Dinenno. Ruggiero nods this off Jones. Rolls this back. Numbers forward, ball across. Snuck over the foot of Brandon Bai. New England is playing with fire. Change coming. And it's as big a name as New England can muster. Josie Altidore. 3 goals in his Champions League experience. It'll be the second change of the available 5 for New England. The first, McNamara, came on at halftime. Didn't count as one of the 3 substitution windows. Question is, whose number's on that board? Bo's the one walking off, and that is indeed the end of the night for Gustavo Bo, who had a Copa Libertadores to remember with Racing once upon a time, a record transfer fee to bring him in from Tijuana, a 2-year extension back in November, and minimized in this game. So will it be Josie Altidore, who was part of the Champions League final run for Toronto FC once upon a time before being bought out this most recent offseason? The aggregate level, 3 goals apiece, all goals garnered on home ground. Means for New England a road goal here in the final 20 minutes. Pumas would need 2 to overcome it. But this current result would send us to penalties. There's Omar Gonzalez. His career so much more than a night in Trinidad. Josie Altidore maybe just got the fastest yellow card. All right, Mozo pushing off Altidore. Altidore was in this game for less than... Anywho, you do wonder what was said down there. Nonetheless, Altidore will be on a yellow card. That we do know. Gonzalez will step away from this. We know how good Matt Turner is in penalties, but he's not available. Talaveda's been around the block numerous times. Our penalties in the offing tonight. Was contact there with Gonzalez going down. What a run forward. Polster crossing. Driven back. Jones, McNamara. The New England players trying to get back on side. Weren't quite able to do so. With Altidore and New England. Altidore was part of that Toronto FC team that lost the final in penalties to Chivas. Michael Bradley was playing center back in the second leg due to all the injuries they had. Here he is, wearing an older man's clothes. Caroso is about to come in. What an impact he had against Saprissa in the round of 16. New England down their starting pair of center backs and their starting goalkeeper. Credit where deserved. Rogério de Oliveira, a magnificent performance. He gave all he could. And that makes a trio of changes for Pumas over 3 windows. Make no mistake, Pumas are going for the win. Heel, down the line, Jones. Buxa making the lone central run. There just aren't numbers there right now. Ball brought down by Bai. Jones for Buxa, Talavera. Washington Caroso springs it wide. Diogo and Caroso making the run with Dinenno, reaching the end line, ball across. Edwards siphons this off. This will drag Buxa all the way to the corner. McNamara turning, Altidore, Buxa, Leggett. Crowd uproariously trying to move the pace along. Dinenno rolls it ahead. And a poor touch leans that back to Gonzalez. There's not a single person in CONCACAF right now who wants to hear about the altitude, 7,400 feet. They don't want to hear about New England's preseason plans, taking a detour with the cancellation of their round of 16 matches against Cavalier of Haiti. Caroso. Taken back by New England. Carlos Heel sticks it to the ground, starts the Revs the other way. Leggett. Leggett, early ball. Will go soaring over Buxa. Picks up his head, reverts back to Josie Altidore. Heel pushes through. Heel again. Brought down. Buxa lost his footing, chasing Ortiz. What everyone in CONCACAF can't help but watch right now is, can New England, been stuck in the mud in this game, find their way back after conceding a 3-goal advantage? One road goal leave them in a really enviable position down the stretch. They don't appear any closer to it. This has been a masterclass by Pumas. Their energy, their decisiveness in wide areas, and in their transition defending. Into the wide area once more for Pumas. Early ball across. It's away with Dinenno chasing. Header back toward the middle. Circling back, Velarde was able to keep it alive. Caroso dances, Caroso. Karams away from Bai. Corner, Pumas Unam. Pumas said they lost the first leg not because of the weather, not because of the field turf, but because they made mistakes, because they did things wrong. They've hardly put a foot wrong tonight. Can they lead for the first time in this series? Corner. Lopez, header back down, settled. Away from Ruvalcaba. Molso dancing. Heel took it away. Heel leads this forward. And from that effort, a corner won. Heel leading Matt Polster. And played out over the end line. What a tremendous play by the reigning MLS MVP, Carlos Heel. Heel, straight up from Maritao. Leggett trying to recover. Soars up, by heads. And now on the run, Diogo. A runaway freight train that derails. Gonzalez as far as Frede. Here comes Pumas. The crowd can feel it, but it's the streaking heel that Pumas didn't feel. We've got 10 minutes and stoppage time to go. If this scoreline holds, we'd go to penalties. Jones, Bell, Gonzalez. One of the free agents New England picked up to prepare their roster for the grind of the Open Cup, Champions League, and this MLS season. Starting in February and running up close to the beginning of the upcoming World Cup in Qatar. Polster takes the return. Dinenno running in his shadow. What effort to get that back. Bell across, Gonzalez. Chips it ahead. Heel, Altidore, Leggett. Bounces through, let this all the way. Caruso. Caruso crossing all the way over the top of Dinenno. Got over Ruvalcaba as well. Unreal. Pumas in this competition 28-5-2 on their home ground, dating back to the earlier participations before the Champions League era began. Tonight, the continuation of their 5th Champions League journey in the modern era. They reached the final of the Champions Cup in 2005. They won that predecessor to this tournament 3 times. And in this quarterfinal, they've given New England absolutely all they can handle. Bell, Dinenno. Bell sends this out to touch. Find Caruso. Pumas maintain. Caruso trying to get around by. He's done that. Caruso rolls this back. Still alive for Pumas. Ruvalcaba. Caruso awaits. He serves. It's too high for Diogo. Falls on the backside. Trouble brewing. Deflection. And the shot rings well outside the post. Pumas can taste it now. Dinenno seeking the 3rd hat trick in their history in this tournament. Leggett. Ball comes to Moso. We have faith. The signs that likely to some extent take from the manager, Andres Lellini. Rolled all the way down by Caruso beyond Dinenno. In American parlance, perhaps it's just a sign hanging above the door that says believe. Faith never wavered. With 5 minutes left, Pumas look far closer to the goal that could clinch them a spot in the semifinal. And they've won a corner. $10,669 in this venue. It's hosted the Olympics and the World Cup. Altidore involved with Diogo. Here's Altidore falling down. Here's the set piece. Taken out of the air and blasted off of Polster. The reserve getting by Heel. The cross, the header is over from Maratau. The fourth goal is palpable for Pumas right now. It's on the very tip of their tongue. A looping header from Maratau. Edwards had a good beat on it. Nonetheless, the pressure mounts. Caruso. Not the best. And a foul. Carlos Heel takes it on the calf. Driven as far as Edwards can get it. Altidore trying to bring that down. Maratau from Mozo. By. Heel. Heel with a burst of speed. Wins a corner. Leggett lines it up again, an injured player in the middle of the penalty area, and play is stopped. A potential head injury inside the 18 with so many bodies around. The official really had no choice. It was unclear to him what had occurred here. You see the contact. Maratau comes down awkwardly. His back was turned, and with Maratau injured in the middle of the penalty area, the official stopping play rather than risking the health of Maratau. Bruce Arena, the 70-year-old manager in his fourth year at the helm of New England, taking them to unprecedented heights, looks on. Zomar Gonzalez pleads the case. He crashes in, and you can just tell there's a lightning bolt up that right leg of Maratau when he lands. And it's almost impossible to recreate the advantage that New England had had. there are very few precious opportunities left. 3 added minutes. New England moving as quickly as they can in front, out to door. Can't get the finishing touch. Across, Leggett, header, save Talavera. And now Pumas can run. Talavera with a point-blank save. And Pumas racing forward, seeking a winner. 4 white shirts, ball forward, Dinenno, denied, Edwards. He could have had the hat trick, he could have had the 4th, he could have completed the comeback. This drama, it builds. 2 more minutes. Lopez. First ball's away. Danger's not out yet. Line stepping forward for New England. Ruvalcaba. Carried up Velarde. Mozo. Header steered at Edwards. It was aimed for the top corner from Arturo Ortiz. One wonders if New England would just be happy to take this to penalties. Altidore trying to get the finishing touch, an epic recovery. The ball back across, that snap down from Omar Gonzalez. Slapped away by Talavera. 1 more minute, a push there from Maritao. New England can push numbers. But like we saw a moment ago, at their own detriment, if they fail to score, Pumas can run in a pack. Penalties have been unnecessary in this tournament thus far. In 30 seconds or so, that might change. What magic does Carlos Gil have here? Bai tries to get ahead to it. And now Pumas will go for the jugular. Denied by Jones. Options galore. Jones. Altidore gives chase. Mozo watches this escape. It's a matter of seconds now. Gil will get another look. Skies overhead. Maritao, we're going to penalties. A 3-0 result at Gillette Stadium. New England knew they just needed to defend that advantage. And Pumas magnificent tonight. Dinenno scores twice. Saucedo scores the equalizer in the tie. And after 180 minutes, we're going to penalties. These quarterfinals have been beyond explanation. NYCFC going all the way to the wire with Comunicaciones. Montreal giving a good fight, but not nearly enough to Cruz Azul in the second leg at the Olympic Stadium in Montreal earlier tonight. Surely Leon is buoyed by the idea of what Pumas just did to New England. They face a 3-0 deficit from their experience at Lumen Field in Seattle last week. They play tomorrow. The conversation begins. They'll call over the captains. Neither of these teams have ever gone to penalties in Champions League until tonight. All the momentum in the world with Pumas Unam. Their first Champions League appearance since 2017 when they were thrashed by Tigres, the team of the decade. Last year reaching the semifinal in the Apertura, a middling record, an 11th place finish, out by tiebreaker before a chance at a final. They brought back the vast majority of that roster, and that group now is on the verge of a semifinal in CONCACAF Champions League. And after a poor effort in the snow in New England, they've come home and in front of over 10,000, been magnificent. Heel wins the toss. Surely it's Heel who expects an opportunity at the spot. This is where you really test your mettle. Just how desperately do you want this moment? Earl Edwards Jr. played at UCLA in Southern California in the US, a former US Youth International before that time. Went to Orlando, DC, and eventually to New England. Stops in the 2nd and 3rd division in the USL Championship and USL League One. He's played more games in the lower divisions in the United States than he has in the first. And yet it's on the 29-year-old shoulders that the fate of the MLS Supporters Shield, a record-breaking effort, and the rewarding Champions League experience, it's on his shoulders that it rests now. Look at what don't appear to be very frayed nerves among the Pumas reserves. A moment between the 39-year-old Alfredo Talavera, once upon a time the 3rd choice keeper in the 2011 Gold Cup, goes on to win it as the #1. The referee is clarifying VAR available. Don't leave that line early. New England will shoot first. And it will be Carlos Heel, the captain, who will begin the proceedings. An Achilles injury in 2020. Comeback Player of the Year. Major League Soccer's most valuable player. 14 assists. Time at Aston Villa and Valencia. This is an experience unlike most any other. Heel will set the tone in this shootout. Heel delivers. Got it by Talavera. 1-0 New England in the shootout. Can you hit this any sweeter? Talavera knew where this was going. It didn't matter. High and wide. Not a lot more he could have done. Call that perfection. Carlos Heel opens with a goal. Pumas now trying to respond. Arturo Ortiz. Ortiz answers in kind. Anything you can do, I can do better. Places that ball with almost the precise same positioning. 1-1 after one. DeJuan Jones will go next. 5th in Defender of the Year voting in Major League Soccer. The outside back, a chance to keep New England at an advantage in this shootout. Mind games from Talavera. DeJuan Jones again. Gorgeous spot kick for New England. 2-1 Revs. The spot in the semifinals still hangs in the balance in what's been a perfect shootout so far. And DeJuan Jones, cold-blooded. For Pumas, they turn to Alan Mosso. He has been tremendous in this game, known more for his service than his goal scoring. Over a decade at Pumas, Mosso, number 2, makes it 2-2, 2 rounds complete. At this stage, all 4 penalties have gone to the keeper's right, the shooter's left. And all 4 penalties bordered on unsavable. Nary a foot put wrong. Tommy McNamara. Time at Chivas USA and NYCFC, on to Houston. Tommy Mack. Keep New England ahead. McNamara denied by Talavera. The first save of this shootout comes on the 5th kick. McNamara knew it when he struck it. Talavera had that dead to rights. Pumas, for the first time in this tie, can say they are ahead. And now they have to consolidate, take the advantage into the 4th round of penalties. Efrain Velarde. Velarde for Pumas. Oh, it's saved by Edwards. Unreal. 3 rounds in the books. 4 penalties converted in a row. And now 2 saves by these weary goalkeepers. All 6 penalties have been aimed at this same spot. One wonders who'll have the nerve to change that dynamic. Talavera being asked to return to his line. Ball placed. Sebastian Lletget. What a summer he had last year. All that he did for the U.S. national team. All the damage he did against Mexico. Lletget put it over. And again, Pumas have a chance to consolidate the advantage. And Bruce Arena can't believe it. Lletget, the big ticket signing of the offseason. Acquired from LA. Can Pumas grab the advantage now? Yes, they have. Nicolas Freire. And Pumas are on the verge. from 3 goals down at Gillette to 3 goals up tonight to level the tie. The semifinals are now within reach. And Frede, who had a night to forget in Costa Rica in the round of 16. A moment you'll always remember in the quarterfinals. Jozy Altidore, 1 save for Pumas, and it's over. Altidore must score. He does. New England lives just a bit longer in Champions League. Jozy almost took the net off with that. 3-3. Talavera read that right. But the elevation that Jozy gets. Altidore in his new digs. Dinenno has scored twice. He's the leading scorer in this tournament. Now he can put Pumas through to the semifinal in CONCACAF Champions League. Dinenno! Pumas win it! Their fans said, "We still believe." And they were absolutely right too. The most decorated coach in MLS. The team that acquired the most points in MLS history a year ago. A 3-0 lead entering the second leg. And Pumas undermines all of it. Dinenno scores twice. Saucedo scores in the 59th to level the tie. And New England sent packing in Champions League in simply stunning fashion. Out on penalties, 4-3. There are few 3-goal comebacks you can point to in CONCACAF Champions League. Pumas pursued the most recent. 3-0 down, entering their home venue for the second leg in the quarterfinals. Pumas were peppering the net early on. New England cashed in 3 times on their home field. And Pumas found their first shortly before halftime. Ruggiero sends that across. Dinenno puts it over the line. 1-0. New England would seek the road goal. It would have changed absolutely everything. Gustavo Bo denied. Bouncing ball around. And in the tail seconds of the first half, off the post. 1-0 at halftime. 3-1 on aggregate. New England in the first minute of the second half. Bo, that could have been what undid Pumas on the night, but instead, Ruggiero, Dinenno, 3-2. The belief never wavered. And Pumas came and waved from there. Ball whipped outside the net mouth after the 49th minute goal. New England, another opportunity through Carlos Heel. An epic save from Talavera on the whipping ball. And then Pumas took control once more. Dinenno, no. The header down to Saucedo. What a sweet finish. 59th minute. 3-3 on aggregate. Next goal would be a winner. Ball that falls to Buxa. He puts it over. Altidore can't get a touch to it. Kept alive through Leggett. And the header denied from Gonzalez. Pumas would have chances in stoppage time, but it would head to penalties. McNamara stopped first. Then it'd be Velarde denied. After 3 rounds, still level. But Sebastian Leggett puts it over the bar, and it allows Dinenno to be the hero. It finishes in penalties 4-3 in favor of Pumas. And in totality, it finishes New England 3, Pumas 3. And Pumas Unam are headed to the semifinal of Scotiabank Concacaf Champions League. The numbers tell the entire story. New England was not ready to play tonight. Pumas dominated this affair from beginning to end. And indeed, they do deserve to move on. They will face a crosstown rival, Cruz Azul, in the semifinal beginning the week of April the 5th. Until then, for our entire team at home and abroad, Mike Watts saying so long from Mexico City, where Pumas advances over New England 3-3 and 4-3 on penalties.